Good afternoon from southern New Mexico, West Texas. Here we are. Finally, the camera crew showed back up after being on assignment to other places. Nobody knows where they were, but they weren't here. But we're so happy that they've come back because today, for the fourth week in a row, we're going to harvest Somerset tomatoes.
Welcome to Doug's Urban Garden.
So like I said earlier and last year, remember last year from the first video, we had these beautiful Somerset tomatoes with all these beautiful tomatoes, but they were all green. And what happened? We needed 6 more weeks and we had an early frost instead of our first frost being in the 2nd or 3rd week of November. Historically, that's where it is. We had a 26 degree night, 26, 28 degree night in the 2nd week of October. So we're going to harvest some Somerset tomatoes. Now, these are heat tolerant, but before we do that, I'm going to give you a list that I got off the internet. Now, there's a lady that came up with this list of 14 heat tolerant tomatoes that you can grow in southern New Mexico, West Texas. Now, I got my eyeballs on so I can read the list. Okay, you can go on the internet. The title is 14 Heat Tolerant Tomatoes, and it was put out by a woman named Mary Ward in February of 2024. So here's the list of heat tolerant tomatoes: Heat Master, Early Girl, Big Beef, Black Klein, Dixie Red, Phoenix, Somersets, that's what these are, Somersets, Solar Flare, Homestead Heirloom, Arkansas Travelers, Super Socks, Black Cherry Tomatoes, and Matt's Wild Cherry Tomatoes. Now, if you go on her website, 14 Heat Tolerant, it gives you the description, gives you the heat tolerance that they have, also where you can purchase either the seeds or the plants. I don't go into that because of legal issues that I don't want to deal with. So, all right. So let's get started harvesting some tomatoes. Got our trusty colander here. And as you can see, this is week number 4, harvest number 4, and I'm always getting, out of 4 plants in 35-gallon pots, I'm getting a whole colander full of tomatoes. Now, I've taken, as I said before in the other videos that I made myself, because the camera crew was on other assignments, and getting all these beautiful tomatoes. Look at where we're getting off of one plant. Yeah, we'll leave that one for another couple of days. My dear wife says, don't do filming and harvesting at the same time because you run short of breath and you're on the video, you're huffing and puffing. Okay, this is what we call in drop, or in rot rather. Okay, there's a number of things that could happen. One of them is your soil is low in calcium, and I put calcium. Oops, we'll give that one to Sammy. I put calcium in the soil, and that's really has helped. Look at all these over here. My wife, who loves tomatoes, she's been eating 6, 7 tomatoes a night with some cucumbers, some oil and vinegar salad dressing that she's made. It's fantastic. Thought I heard one drop. Oh, here's one I missed down here. My wife said, I've planted too many tomatoes. I said, well, it's just 4 plants. And she says, well, it's just too many tomatoes. Why do you plant so many? Let me get this. Here's the reason you plant more than what you think or estimates you're going to need or want. Due to the fact that they may not all germinate, the seeds may not germinate, the plants may die. Now, the Somersets can take temperatures up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And what happens is the pollen on the flower, like right here, when it gets too hot, the pollen gets sticky and it won't self-pollinate. So then once you get down to below 110, you're going to start getting blooms again. It's going to self-pollinate. Now also, if you go on the website I told you about, it also tells you whether or not the tomato is a determinate or an indeterminate. Now, for you gardeners who may not be familiar, there's 2 types of tomatoes. There's determinate tomatoes, which farmers use because the crop, the tomatoes, usually produce the majority of them all at one time. So they can go in the field and harvest the field at one time. Indeterminate is a tomato that will be producing tomatoes all season long. Now they're divided up into 2 groups. You have your heirloom tomatoes and you have your hybrids. Your heirloom tomatoes are the originals. They haven't been crossbred. Your hybrids have been crossbred with 2 or 3 other tomatoes to come up with a new species. Now, we're going to show you later on how to harvest your own seeds. Tired of paying $2.49, $3.50 for a little package of seeds? We're going to show you in a video how to harvest your own seeds. But on tomatoes and your vegetables, they need to be heirloom, the originals, because the crossbreds, the hybrids, no matter what vegetable it is, if you harvest your seeds, you may get that plant next year when you plant the seeds. You may not. Definitely season number 2, you're not going to get it because they've been crossbred. And so every year, the seed grower has to continue to crossbreed the seeds. So I hope that helps with picking your vegetable seeds. We may not have room in this colander to hold all these tomatoes. Here's one that got rotted. We'll leave that one for Sammy. These 2 down here need a little more time. Well, let me take a quick look. Got a couple of small ones over here. Yeah, we knocked the green one off. Pick up the one we dropped. All right. A little bit out of breath. That's today's harvest. This is harvest number 4. This is 4 weeks of harvesting. Every week I've been coming out here and harvesting a colander like this. These plants, I'm so happy this year with Somerset tomatoes. Well, that should be about it. It looks like we got some more green ones. A couple of green ones fell off. We could probably going to have another harvest, and that should be about it for this season. And then we'll pull up all this when it gets done. We'll trench compost it in the garden boxes, like it shows in that video about trench composting, the lazy man's way to compost, which it works. And then we have beets we're going to be harvesting and planting some more beets so we can have beets all winter long. Well, here we are. We're just going to add a little add-on on this video. We live in a desert, the biggest desert in the United States. And it's been raining for the last 48 hours. It's a real treat. Now, people think, well, you folks are crazy. You get all excited about rain. Well, when it only happens once every 6 or 9 months, it's something to celebrate. So maybe we'll go have a refreshing drink or something and celebrate that it's raining today. And it's been raining for the last 48 hours, and we're expecting more rain tonight, which is really going to be good. And you can see what the rain has done to the desert, my extended backyard. It was the first rain we had about 2 months ago. The whole back was green. I have a picture of it. We'll put it in on the video. And now this is the second crop of, it may just be weeds, but at least it's green. And the sand's not blowing around. It holds the sand in, which is a blessing.
1 week later.
So today is going to be harvest number 5. And the film crew is with us today. So I don't have to be doing the video, the talking, and the harvesting because we're set to go. But this is going to probably be one of the last harvests on the Somersets. So let's get started, see what we get. As we said before, they're very productive. We're going to get a lot of tomatoes. This one we're going to leave for a little bit. And the nice thing is Sammy, the squirrel, has been leaving the tomatoes alone. Let's see what we got. Oh, there's some over here. Ooh, let's pull these back. They're still producing, and they still got a lot of green ones. But like we've got about 4, maybe 5 weeks. We're in the middle of October. We got 4, maybe 5 weeks before the first freeze. There's more buried in here than I anticipated. Oh, we dropped one. Yeah, we're not leaving that one for Sammy. That's a good one. Well, I think that's about it. We leave these to ripen up. Maybe we may get another good harvest before the first frost. There we go. We leave this green one. We leave this green one for Sammy. The two green ones. I think Sammy likes the potatoes better than the tomatoes. All right. I don't know what that is. I think that's a double header. That's sort of like a baseball term. All right, now we're going to come over here. We're going to show you another set of tomatoes. Well, this is a celebrity tomato plant we got first part of the season. I didn't think it was going to do as well as the Somersets. The tomatoes are slicers. They're not as big as Somersets, but it has produced. And so we're going to do some harvesting here. We got some down here that need a little bit longer. Of course, this is just one plant, but it's doing pretty good. They're not as heat tolerant as the Somerset. Ooh, almost dropped them all. They're not as heat tolerant as the Somersets, but they do make a nice tomato. Yeah, we got a lot of green ones. Like I said, we got about 4 weeks left if we can get them ripe before the first freeze. Now, an old farmer taught me a trick. Last year when he had green tomatoes just like I did, and weatherman said there was going to be a freeze second week in October, which is very unusual. So what he did was, I got to tell you how to do this. He just went out and pulled up his tomato plants by the roots, just pulled the whole plant up, put them in some huge boxes. He has a walk-in cooler. You put them in the walk-in cooler. Now, I think if you could put them in your garage during the winter and it stayed nice and cool in your garage, it could work. And when I went out to get some manure from him in June, he was still eating tomatoes. They were cherry tomatoes, but he picked a few and I had them. Skins were a little bit tough, but they were good tomatoes. So maybe he hit on something. Just pull up, if it's going to freeze and you got green tomatoes, just pull up the whole plant, put them someplace where it can stay cool, and you may be eating tomatoes all winter long. But we're also going to go over here and pick the last of the cherry tomatoes. These are all super sweet tomatoes. And I'm going to ask my son to help me harvest because there's a lot of them out there. And it'll probably be the last harvest for this season. So let's go over to the other end of the garden. We're over here, and these are the super sweet tomatoes. I invited my son down from Las Cruces, which also is in southern New Mexico. He grows the same tomatoes, but we got a lot of tomatoes to harvest today. It'll probably be the last time we harvest. We're going to ask the camera crew, who was on assignment someplace else, and they finally showed up again, which is super great. And so, all right, Carson, let's start picking tomatoes. Takes out a switchblade to cut the bird netting. Oh yeah, I tore that one open. Yeah, the birds have been staying out of them. Like I said a couple of videos ago, an old timer in Minnesota, his daughter said what he does, because he's got squirrels and birds, must be Sammy's cousin. he takes and goes to the end of his garden and puts out bird seeds and lets the birds and the squirrels fight each other. Watch it with that knife. I don't want to get stabbed in the back by mistake. Oh, you fine. Yeah, so did the guy say when I was going to the hospital with a knife in his back. Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. I just slipped. Didn't mean to stab you in the kidneys. We're just going to spend a few minutes picking these because my wife is putting dinner on the table. If we don't get in there on time, we'll be spending the night out here with the coyotes. Yeah, we do. Out there in the desert. Last night they were howling and whooping. This is the fun part of living in this part of the country. Wildlife is right out there, your back door. I know. That's why you're here helping me harvest, because I don't want to spend all day here. Oh yeah, this last year we had so many cherry tomatoes. My wife just took and put them in a pot with some homemade chicken stock and made sauce. This is going to be about the last harvest of cherry tomatoes. Let's go over here. My wife said, don't fool with the cherry tomatoes next year. They're too much trouble. But they are super sweet. So what we're going to do is after we harvest all these tomatoes, we'll just take and cut the vines up and do trench composting. There's a video we made a few months ago on how to compost your garden scraps, kitchen scraps, called trench composting. It's really the lazy man's way how to compost. You don't need to make a compost pile, do any of that. You just take and dig a trench, put everything in there, put some manure on top. Now the next video we're going to be harvesting some beets that we planted a few weeks ago. And I was at the grocery store getting some milk because I don't have a cow. And anyway, I looked at the beets. Organic beets, $2.99 a pound. I think next video we're going to harvest about $100 worth of beets. This is one of the reasons why, if you got any space in your yard, balcony, get yourself a couple of pots, start growing some stuff. The price of everything is going higher every day. With the situation with hand harvesting, there could be shortages. There's a shortage of farm workers these days. A lot of farms in America are 300 acres or less, they can't afford these $1 million automated pickers. They have to have people to hand pick, and the crops may be ready to pick only for about 2, maybe 3 weeks. After that, they're pretty much gonna go be composted, plowed up, what they call plowed under. Well, I think we're going to do this for about another minute. Come back tomorrow, pick some more, because I'm sure the wife has got dinner ready.
You get slicer volunteer.
Yeah, I know. I got a volunteer tomato. It's doing pretty good. We'll show it to you. Showed up in just in a flower pot. How I got there, I don't know. Yeah, let's call it a day right now, Karsten. I'll come out tomorrow and pick some more. Yeah. Let me show you a volunteer over here. Let's see what we got. This tomato just showed up one day. Now, because it's just a volunteer, not very prolific, but it's got some nice cherry tomatoes on it.
You got one, the pine tree too.
Yeah, there's another one over there. That one hasn't, those tomatoes haven't ripened up yet. I haven't done anything to this tomato plant, but just give it some water. It's producing a few nice tomatoes. Now maybe a bird ate a tomato and dropped the seed in the pot. I don't know. And there's another one over here with a pine tree. It's got some blooms, but no sets yet. They just got huge. Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, there's a few green ones down there. We'll see if they get ripe. But it just showed up. But anyway, that's it from today, from Doug's Urban Garden here in southern New Mexico, West Texas. Got a nice small colander full of cherry tomatoes. We got some help. Poor old Sammy. Sorry, Sammy, we got the tomatoes before you did. Sorry. But there's a few I left out there for you. And there's some bird seed out there on the wall. You and the birds can share. But anyway, we're just having fun. It's a family day. Everybody's here having a great time, going to have a great meal. And this is what gardening is all about. This is the harvest you share with family, friends, neighbors, loved ones, maybe even those you don't like, because you got so many vegetables you need to use up. But anyway, it's all just fun, and it's so relaxing. Come home from a stressful day at work, go out to the garden, water, do a little pruning, maybe pull some weeds, do a little fertilizing, and it just clears the mind of all the clutter from the day's activity at work and the stress. But anyway, you all have a great day, great gardening, great harvest, great produce. Thank you.
Thanks for coming by, and happy gardening!